Witcher signs are an interesting topic when it comes to the history and lore of the Witcher universe. This use of magic by Witchers is an iconic part of a Witcher's abilities, especially when facing monsters, but the way in which they are depicted through the different forms of media that make up the Witcher series differs from source to source. In essence, the book gave us the basic background and concept of Witcher signs, but the video games and other external material expanded on this base the books created greatly. Thus this means that given the difference between the mediums, the function and the lore of Witcher signs can differ depending on the context of the medium. This video will be looking at the Witcher signs across both the books and the games, presenting the lore from the books as well as expanding upon it with additional lore from the games. The first thing to discuss is what exactly is a Witcher sign. A Witcher sign is one of the most basic forms of magic, and is a simple but powerful use of magic, and a way for users to harness the chaotic magical energy that flows through the world of the Witcher. They can be used to cast both offensive and defensive spells. The signs differ from normal magic use in the sense that they are specifically intended to be used while wielding a weapon in one hand, allowing the user to use physical attacks and magic at the same time. Some signs are just used in combat, and some provide some utility that the Witchers can use in non-combat situations. Across the Witcher series, we currently know of 9 signs, with some of these fleshed out more than others. The power to harness the force of magic is a rare thing, and even for those who possess the potential, it takes years of hard learning and practice to do so. Not ideal when the lords of the northern kingdoms set out to create the Witchers, most of whom did not possess the skill necessary to harness magic, as if they did, they would likely never have been set to become a Witcher. The answer came in the form of the mutations the Witchers undergo as part of their training, as well as the help from sorcerers, who helped create the basic magic that became the Witcher signs. While the power of these signs was a fraction of what magic could be used for by a fully trained sorcerer, they still gave the Witchers the edge they needed. Typically, the more powerful a spell, the more energy and concentration it takes the user to perform it, while Witcher signs only need minimal concentration and a simple hand gesture to be able to cast them. It is also suggested that a Witcher's medallion helps to focus the power of the signs, and that without it, the less magically gifted Witchers would have trouble even attempting to use this most basic form of magic. Across the books and video games, we have seen a total of 9 Witcher signs used. However, the signs we see in the books work slightly differently to those that we do in the games, and are generally seen as less powerful. The first of these signs is Aard, which channels the element of air. This sign allows the user to force enemies back, stun them, deflect projectiles, and destroy obstacles by manipulating kinetic energy. It is particularly effective when used against aerial monsters such as harpies. The sign is performed with the use of a hand gesture where the user places their middle finger down. During the short story collection, The Last Wish, Geralt uses Aard several times, during his fight with the Striga, during Pavetta's banquet, and when facing a djinn. The Igni sign channels the element of fire and causes a burst of fire from the Witcher's hand that can repel and ignite opponents, as well as start simple fires such as campfires, torches, and candles, or highly effective against monsters that are weak to fire, such as drowners. In the book, Igni tends to be used as more of a utility spell than purely combat. The sign itself involves the bending of the user's index finger and slightly bending of the pinky finger. Axii is a water-based sign that causes a hypnotic effect. It can calm down people and creatures, manipulate their minds, or be used to hex enemies, causing them to fight alongside the caster. The effect wears off over time, or can be prematurely broken if they take damage from the caster. This sign is useful when dealing with multiple combatants and when stunning enemies. Using it for manipulation can also be used to diffuse dangerous situations without the need for violence, and can turn a situation in the caster's favour. In the books, it is commonly used by Geralt of Rivia to calm his horse Roach when he is spooked. The casting for this sign involves bending the user's ring finger and pinky fingers. Quen channels the element of earth. When cast, it forms a protective shield in front of the caster, protecting the Witcher from sonic waves and similar attacks from that angle. This differs slightly in the games, where rather the sign forms a protective shield around the form of the user and can be used to block a single powerful attack. The sign does not appear much in the books, however in the short story A Grain of Truth, the sign appears to work more like a frontal shield, in that it protects just from the angle it is cast from, instead from an encompassing bubble as depicted in the games. The hand sign for Quen is among the most simple, only needing the user to bend their pinky finger. Yrden is a sign that channels an element known as ether. When inscribed on a solid surface, it blocks monsters from getting closer, scaring them off. In the games, if a hostile monster or being enters the area affected by the sign, they are visibly slowed, and non-corporeal forces become more tangible. In The Witcher, a short story from The Last Wish, Geralt uses Yrden to ensure his own safety inside a sarcophagus during his fight with the Supirre. It is also a direct reference to the original Slavic tale of the Supirre, but with the sign of the cross changed into that of Yrden. The sign Heliotrope is used heavily in the Witcher books, but not so much in the Witcher games, with, in most cases, Quen taking on most of its function. It is made by crossing one's wrists, and works as a buffer against physical attacks, combat magic, and impacts with walls and the ground. Contrary to Quen, which is active until broken or dispelled, Heliotrope is only active for a moment, and cushions from a single powerful attack or damage. Somne is a sign that's only appeared in the books. It is used to put targets to sleep, may possibly also leave them open to some form of suggestion. An unidentified witcher, who's said to strongly resemble Geralt of Rivia, uses the sign in the novel Season of Storms to put Nimue to sleep after meeting her in a forest. Supirre is a sign enhancing the auditory perception of the user. Drawn on a solid surface, it allows the people near the sign to hear sounds which would be normally inaudible due to distance or background noise. As such, it is often used for eavesdropping. The hate reflecting sign, which is seen in the Witcher short story where Geralt fights the Supirre, is a telepathic sign that reflects the opponent's hate, bloodlust, and hunger back to its source, making the monster afraid and possibly making the target flee. While signs have differing effects, whether we're talking about the books or the games, for the most part, the expansion of their effects the games implemented do make sense. While the signs are less powerful in the books, they are still a key tool at Geralt's disposal, both in terms of combat and utility. The choice of the games to make the signs a more potent and powerful part of the combat makes sense when you consider the gameplay reasons behind the need for it, and the impact of the casting of signs has on the combat triangle of melee magic and potions. How do you feel about the way signs were used in the games, and what signs from the books that did not make it into the games would you like to see in The Witcher 4?